to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Nea Mangawang, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to tout the looming approval of the Bangsamoro Organic Law as he delivers his third State of the Nation address. Marikina City and two areas in Bataan now under state of calamity due to flooding caused by incessant rains. And ASEAN-India trade is expected to touch $100 billion by 2020. President Rodrigo Duterte is set to deliver his third State of the Nation address, or SONA, later this afternoon. The president's speech is scheduled at 4 p.m. at the Batasang Pambansa in Quezon City, which has traditionally been the venue of the chief executive's SONAs. Malacanang said President Duterte, who is known for veering away from his prepared speech, has promised to stick to the script this time. According to the palace, President Duterte won't spend a lot of time talking about the administration's achievements, since some cabinet officials had already discussed those in persona briefings. Instead, the SONA is expected to tout the looming approval of the organic law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, a law granting wider self-rule to the Muslim minority in the south. Malacanang previously said President Duterte is ready to sign the Bangsamoro law on or before the SONA as soon as he receives the bill from Congress. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, is now on full alert status in time for President Duterte's third State of the Nation address. The PNP has deployed 7,000 anti-riot policemen at around 4 a.m. PNP Public Information Office Chief Senior Superintendent Benigno Durana said, even though the PNP has stressed that there has been no specific threat reported ahead of the SONA, security forces are taking no chances. Durana earlier said that the PNP has conducted simulation drills to be prepared for any eventuality, while plainclothes police personnel will monitor and identify spoilers of peaceful democratic exercise. The armed forces of the Philippines and local government units, especially the Quezon City government, will also participate in monitoring activities during the SONA. Anti-Duterte crowd hold their program near the St. Peter's Church along Commonwealth Avenue, while the supporters of the president occupy the IBP Road. Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, lifted the number coding scheme in the National Capital Region in line with the State of the Nation address of President Rodrigo Duterte. In an advisory, the MMDA suspended as of 5 a.m. the implementation of the number coding system. The MMDA earlier said a portion of Commonwealth Avenue from Tandangsora to Batasan Road will be closed to traffic starting Monday midnight in anticipation of demonstrations to be held in area in time for President Duterte's third SONA. To other news, Marikina City and two areas in Bataan, Balanga City and the town of Dinalupian respectively, were placed under the state of calamity on Sunday following the continuous downpour due to monsoon rains enhanced by tropical depression Josie. The resolution for the declaration of state of calamity in Marikina City was approved by members of the City Council in a special session Sunday afternoon. This following the evacuation of over 5,000 residents as the Marikina River's water level reached 17.3 meters at around 11 a.m. Sunday. In Bataan, the Sangguniang Panglungsod of Balanga City and the municipal government of Dinalupihan have declared a state of calamity on Sunday afternoon due to floods. Based on latest reports, there are already 3 casualties in Bataan. There are also reports of landslides in some areas, including in Barangay Lucanin and Barangay Townsite, both in the town of Mariveles. ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Please stay with us.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eager news, because we live in interesting times.
We men and women from Hadini Zulu Kingdom of Lesotho Hero of Africa would like to greet you. A happy 50th anniversary of Eagle Broadcasting Company.
From the EBC Bureau of Universal City, we would like to greet the brethren all around the world of happy 50th anniversary of the Church of Christ in the West.
Welcome back. ASEAN-India trade is likely to touch $100 billion by 2020, according to Union Urban Development and Housing Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Speaking at the valedictory address at the Delhi Dialogue in New Delhi on July 20 in the presence of delegation heads of ASEAN countries, Puri asserted the economic partnership between India and ASEAN is deepening by the day and is in a dynamic phase. He said bilateral trade between ASEAN and India has crossed the $80 billion mark, which not only shows growing confidence, but also constitutes the highest volume of trade in goods that the two sides have witnessed since the signing of the FTA in 2010. He also called for stronger cooperation between ASEAN and India in the economic field. According to the minister, the ASEAN-India region together represents a combined population of 1.85 billion, a quarter of the global population, and a GDP of over $3.8 trillion, creating one of the largest economic spaces in the world. He said this joint economic space provides avenues for expansion and cooperation across a myriad of commonalities in security, economic, and socio-cultural areas across the geographical expanse of the Indo-Pacific. In Malaysia, the government, together with Bursa Malaysia and the Securities Commission, is exploring plans to link with other regional bourses after shelving initial plans to link Bursa Malaysia with Singapore Stock Exchange. Finance Minister Lim Guang Eng said the initiative would offer better market capitalization opportunity rather than just linking up with only one individual stock exchange in the region. Former Prime Minister Najib Razak had announced the establishment of a trading link between the two exchanges at the World Capital Market Symposium 2018. A month after Pakatan Harapan took over Putrajaya, Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad announced that the Malaysia-Singapore Connect would be put under review. Singapore has asked Malaysia to clarify its position on the planned trading link. A report quoted the Monetary Authority of Singapore as saying that it had asked the SC to clarify its position and would await the capital market regulators' update on the matter. Meanwhile, a French national who spent 18 years in Indonesian custody for smuggling drugs into Bali arrived home on Sunday, thanks in large part to his mother's efforts. Michael Blanc was arrested in 1999 at the airport in Bali with 3.8 kilograms of hashish hidden inside scuba diving canisters. The now 45-year-old was initially given a life term, narrowly escaping the death sentence handed to some foreign drug traffickers. In 2008, Blanc's prison term was cut to 20 years. Blanc's mother, Helen Letuzzi, later helped secure her son's parole in 2014, despite the fact that Indonesian law does not usually allow the conditional release of foreigners after serving just two-thirds of their sentence. Blanc's 3-year parole period ended in July 2017, after which he was required to finish 1 year of probation. The former cook arrived at the airport in Jakarta for his deportation on Saturday, escorted by Indonesian immigration officials and accompanied by Letuzzi. She gave up her life in France to spend nearly 2 decades in Indonesia campaigning for his release. A key member of an international advisory panel on Myanmar's crisis in Rakhine State has resigned, telling AFP on Saturday that the Aung San Suu Kyi appointed board risks becoming part of the problem in a conflict that forced 700,000 Rohingya Muslims to flee. Retired Thai lawmaker and Ambassador Kobsak Chutikul was secretary for the panel handpicked by civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi to advise her government on how to handle the aftermath of a military campaign that drove the minority out of the country. The brutal crackdown started in August last year and left hundreds of Rohingya villages razed to the ground. Refugees to Bangladesh have recounted horrifying testimony of widespread murder, rape, and torture in violence the UN and US have branded as ethnic cleansing. Kobsak Chutikul said his position became untenable ahead of a second full meeting of the panel with officials in Myanmar's capital, Naypyidaw, this week. The credibility of the advisory board was undermined early on by the resignation of veteran US diplomat Governor Bill Richardson, a one-time close confidant of Suu Kyi, who left the panel in January in a vicious war of words with the Nobel laureate. The government insisted it had terminated his involvement, but Richardson said he stepped down due to fears the committee would only whitewash the causes of the Rohingya crisis. Malaysia's youth are likely to get more power after backing 93-year-old Mahathir Mohamad to topple a regime that ruled the Southeast Asian nation for 6 decades. Youth and Sports Minister Syed Sadiq Syed Abdul Rahman said Malaysia is very serious about reducing the voting age to 18 before the next elections due by 2023. The 2-month-old cabinet plans to ask the Attorney General's office to look into what laws need to be amended. Sadiq said lowering the voting age to 18 from 21 would add an additional 3.7 million voters, increasing the number of registered voters by about 25% from the election in May. Voters aged 21 to 39 make up around 40% of the Malaysian electorate, twice the number of voters over 60, according to Election Commission data. Sadiq, member of Mahathir's political party and Malaysia's youngest ever cabinet minister, said that means the youth voter bloc becomes bigger and stronger, and therefore they cannot be sidelined in the Malaysian political scene anymore. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned.
Iba't ibang di pangkaraniwang pangyayari ang nagaganap sa ating komunidad sa buong bansa at magiging sa iba't ibang panig ng daigdig.
Mga pangyayaring nagpapakilo sa damdamin, nagsisilbing inspirasyon at nakakaapekto sa mga mamamayan.
Sa mata ng Agila, patuloy kaming maghahatid ng tunay, patas at balanse mga balita na walang ibang motibo kundi serbisyo publiko.
Subaybayan ang mga hatid naming balita sa Eagle News PH Facebook at Twitter pages.
At sa Eagle News Live YouTube channel.
At sa aming website, ang eaglenews.ph.
Mata ng Agila! Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 7:30 ng gabi.
Aming ginagalang at hinahangaan na istasyon sapagkat ito ho ay walang kinikilingan, walang kinakampihan. They are very factual and sila ho yung napapakiusapan namin na kung maaaring i-highlight ang isang issue that we feel is sensitive at saka mabigyan dapat ng pansin. Kaya more power po sa istasyon ng radyo at television ng Eagle Broadcasting at ng Net 25.
From the local congregation of Townsville, District of Australia East. I would like to greet the members of Iglesia ni Cristo a happy 50th anniversary in the West. Truly, this is an important occasion to celebrate, and I'd like to congratulate the brethren for this enormous feat. Our thanks and praise goes to our Lord God.
Welcome Welcome back. International credit watcher Fitch Ratings retained the Philippines investment grade rating as the country maintained its place as one of the fastest growing economies in the Asia-Pacific region. At the same time, it flagged risks to the economy, topped by overheating, and warned that reversal in the reforms being pursued by the administration would have an adverse impact. Fitch said it is keeping the Philippines' existing investment grade rating at BBB, citing the country's robust economic growth path and well-managed finances. The BBB is a notch above the minimum investment grade. The rating was assigned a stable outlook, which means that the investment grade rating of the Philippines is likely to remain unchanged within the next 12 to 18 months. The ratings agency forecasts a local economic growth to pace at 6.8% for the next 2 years, while the forecast is below the government's 7% to 8% target range. Fitch said the Philippines will remain to be a bright spot in the region in the next few years. Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez III said the rating affirms their direction toward revamping the local tax system for the overall benefit of the country. In Cambodia, Chief Bank Chairman and founder Zhu Songshi said the inauguration yesterday of the bank's first building in Phnom Penh will increase its determination to work to improve the lives of its customers. The chairman said after 3 years operating as a specialized bank, Chief has a wide loan portfolio and many valuable customers in the kingdom. Chief received its commercial license this year, the 40th such license granted by the National Bank of Cambodia. The bank said it intends to provide a wide range of financial products as well as efficient and innovative services to take advantage of the country's rapid economic growth. Mr. Zhu said the bank currently employs more than 50 local staff. Meanwhile, overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, are increasingly allocating their hard-earned dollars to investments as they look for ways to fund their long-term goals. Bank of the Philippine Islands Asset Management and Trust Corporation said the number of their OFW remitters and beneficiaries who are into investments has tripled since 2013. Their latest data showed. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas data showed 94.2% of Filipino households who are beneficiaries of remittances said they use the money sent by their OFW loved ones to purchase food and other household needs. Some 64% said they also use remittances to fund for education. 46.9% used theirs for medical investment, 22.9% for debt payment, and 33.9% for savings. Only 5.2% of OFW households said they allocated part of their remittances for investment. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Nea Mangawang, always 1 to 25.